First I will explain the title, I think. ND stands for natural deduction. I guess it's not difficult to understand that PAL means public announcement logic, and what is PADME? PADME is an abbreviation for public announcement dialogue, modeling engine. And then, not the girl, yes, on the other side. I will start with motivation and some background. After that, I will observe the first version of PADME using Muddy teachers. It's a simple-minded version of famous Muddy children as a case study. And then I came down to PADME version 2, the second version of PADME. Okay, about motivation. The standard interpretation of public announcement operator is, in a sense, forward. After announcement A, it's the case that B. My point is to introduce a new backward interpretation, which can be interpreted as true public announcement A is made by video on the ground of antecedent information B. This new backward interpretation is always based on a certain ground, which may include, for example, previous announcements, factual statements, or knowledge-based statements, different information. Now we may say, maybe alternatively, that after update with B, it holds that A, having in mind agent's knowledge change. The idea of my approach is to present public announcement dialogue as a sequence of two layers: public announcement supported by inner reasoning, where public announcement dialogue is a fully Mirandized colloquy. Mirandized in this context means something like anything you say may be used in this dialogue and maybe against you. Inner or background reasoning is presented in a form of natural will be presented in the form of natural deduction. I would like to say a few words about this inner reasoning and the logic of inner reasoning. It may differ, may be different depending on the type of cognitive situation, and will be presented as a natural deduction, as a Fish-style natural deduction. About the background, this idea first arose in my paper, Dispositionality, Enthymema and Knowledge, where I introduced the idea of, so to say, enthymematic announcement interpretation. What does it mean? It means that when you assert, not always, but sometimes, when you assert A on a certain ground B, it may be the case that there is an implicit, hidden, suppressed premise C, such that A in conjunction with C entails B. It's very close to so-called enthymematic implication. The definition is presented below. The second source was my also presented. It's also my paper of this year, modeling a dialogue with public announcement, where I tried to present first the idea of PADME arrives, and I tried to present PADME public announcement dialogue as a Fish-style natural deduction. It was PADME 1.0. Now I'm going to present PADME 1.1, and it has two characteristic features, important characteristic features. First of all, I exploit enthymematic announcement interpretation. Secondly, use of public announcement operator is governed by introduction and elimination rules. Now about mother teacher. There are two lectures, say alpha and beta, and after teaching their logic classes, they return to the department, and the third party, say gamma, looks at them and says something like that. At least one of you has chalk on your back. And let's assume that it is alpha whose back is in a mess. Let's come down to public announcement dialogue. The first announcement is made by gamma. It's just an introductory, I would say, initial announcement. Gamma says at least one of you has chalk on your back. After that, the possible course of events may differ. We will start with the scenario alpha. Scenario alpha looks as follows. First, alpha says, my back is dirty. This is the second announcement. And after that, it is beta who is saying, my back is clean. Now, we may look in more detail at this announcement in turn. Consider the first announcement. It is based on knowledge at hand. Secondly, there was no antecedent announcement, and gamma is making a trivial derivation, something like I see that P, hence there is the case that P or Q. I would label this announcement as a derived announcement. Maybe it's not the best label because in a sense all announcements will be derived announcements, but it's just the label. Consider the second announcement now. When alpha is saying my back is dirty, he also is using certain knowledge, visual information. Secondly, his announcement is based on previous announcement, and also he provides a derivation of this kind. There is the case that P or Q, I see that not Q, hence there is the case that P. This is again a derived announcement. They are very similar with the first one. The only difference was that there was no previous announcement. What is interesting is the third one. This is a very specific announcement. The agent beta, when he is saying my back is clean, he also is based on his knowledge. He also uses previous announcement, and in addition he is making a very specific derivation, something like restoring a truncated reductive argument. He is trying to figure out how alpha was reasoning when he was making his announcement. So this announcement will be labeled as an anthematic announcement. To recap it, we have, due to scenario alpha, we have two types of announcement. Derived announcement and anthematic announcement. It's also derived, but in a more sophisticated manner. Now we look at scenario beta, where beta is starting with his announcement, I don't know whether my back is dirty or not. And then, based on this announcement, alpha states that my back is dirty. I will not discuss the third announcement because from my point of view it's also a kind of derived announcement. But the second announcement is interesting in its manner because it's based on the lack of knowledge at hand, kind of ignorance and announcement. And also it is based on antecedent announcement. I will call such an announcement ignorance announcement. However, today I am not in a position to discuss ignorance announcement because of two reasons. First of all, if we exploit standard epistemic logic, it will turn to trivial, no, maybe not so trivial, but an ordinary derived announcement. The second reason for me is more important. I'm not satisfied with how ignorance is treated in epistemic logic, and it's a long story. I don't think that it's a right place and time to discuss it now. So there are three types of announcements, and I will deal with the first two of them at the moment. We'll start with the language. I would like to say that something has changed. In fact, it's PADME 1.1 because I decide to use a unary operator of public announcement that means that I is announced. And the dependence of R from certain background, reasoning or premises is informally assumed and formally governed by natural deduction rules. Let delta 1, delta 2 and so on be the set of available data related to debaters. For example, in our case of muddy teachers, when we assumed that alpha had chalk on his back, there are three states of knowledge. The third party knows everything, he knows who is dirty and who is not. Alpha sees that his colleague is not dirty, and beta sees chalk on the back of alpha. The first rule is very similar to repetition or reiteration standard rules, and it allows to open new derivation and to repeat some of initial data, provided that this premise is in delta, in corresponding set of initial data knowledge. The second rule permits to transform antecedent announcement into premises of inner reasoning. The idea is, from my point of view, very clear and doesn't need any interpretation. If A is announced, you may use A as a premise in your reasoning. Next rule, number 3, it's the rule of public announcement introduction, and it's also rather evident. If you manage to conclude that B, then you may announce your conclusion in the dialogue. What is more interesting is the fourth rule. This rule corresponds to the case of announcement introduction on the basis of emphyematic reasoning. What is the idea? First you need A to be announced, then if you make an assumption that C and come to conclusion that A, then you may announce this C as an extra announcement, extra information, as a correct derivation. Now consider a simple reconstruction how it works. This is a kind of natural deduction. It's a scenario alpha. The first derivation corresponds to the first announcement of gamma, who is announcing that at least one of you has a chalk on your back. The second supplementary derivation corresponds to announcement of alpha, who made a, I would say, direct conclusion that P. And the last third announcement, last third derivation corresponds to the last announcement of beta, who reconstructed, rearranged the reasoning of alpha. This summer, my friend and colleague Vladimir Martin joined the project, and PADME version 2.0 is due to him. What are characteristic features of PADME 2.0? There is no distinction between dialogical and derivation layers. There is just a sequence of public announcements and derivations, and it's a purely natural. It has a purely natural deductive interpretation. Martin uses S1, S2, and so on to mark agents or debaters. And as before, delta 1, delta 2, this consequence corresponds to the sets of available data. The important difference is that now available data may include not only visual information or any initial information, but also the derived information, the conclusion the debaters come to. There are two kinds of objects in this sequence. It's public announcements, which are introduced in a natural way, and personal derivation of an agent. Now we may give a formal definition of public dialogue of agent S1, S2, and so on, with corresponding sets of data. It's a non-empty finite sequence where each segment is either personal derivation or public announcement. Again, important point is that every public announcement is preceded by a certain derivation. It's fixed in the second point of this definition. It's a merely more simple presentation of public announcement dialogue, and it's due to my colleague. What are open problems and further directions? There are so many open problems that I think I will just mention some the most important directions of future work. The first is to choose maybe between PADME 1 and PADME 2, or to combine somehow PADME 1 and PADME 2 in one dialogue modeling engine. The second problem, I already mentioned it, is to find an adequate formalization for ignorance announcements. It's a subject for absolutely independent investigation, I would say. And the third interesting direction of future work is to determine inner logic. May it differ up to the case, or we may have a more complicated logic, including different tools for different situations. I don't know for sure. It may be very different. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have some time for questions.